Historically, Barcelona had many great front threes. Then we moved on towards Ronaldinho with Eto'o and Messi. We had one of the most decorated strikers ever, which was Eto'o. We had Ronaldinho, who was the most magical player on the field, just bringing out shows at the Camp Nou. And then we also had Messi, who was inspired and was also very young, right? He had a point to prove. And then we moved on from there and we got Messi, Villa, and Pedro, where they have won everything through their persistence, through their hard work. We saw Messi score like 91 goals, 92 goals in 1 year under Pep Guardiola. This was a front three that won everything, right? The treble, La Liga, the Champions League, the Copa del Rey, and just probably more hardworking than what we saw in the previous front threes like Ronaldinho, Eto'o, Messi, and Ronaldo, Rivaldo, and Figo. And then we moved on from there going into 2014 and we saw the MSN, probably the best trio in the history of football. The MSN, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, they have won everything, and not just everything like how Villa and Pedro and Messi did, but they won everything in style. And all of these players provided so many goals, so many assists, and Barcelona were just simply known by that point to have great front threes that dominated the world of football. Now you may say the only way Barcelona can distribute a great front three on the field is to have Messi in that front three. Barcelona can no longer do that no more. Now that Messi is gone and he's at PSG, Barcelona have no chance, right? Many people would say that, but look, Barcelona in the past 6 years have been attempting to create their own great front three with Messi, right? Messi was there, he was not at PSG, but they have failed. They have not won a single thing. They were not as dominant as the ones that we saw back in 2014, 2015, 2005, 1997. They just simply weren't. So it's not because of Messi, it's simply because Barcelona in the past 6 years from today had a horrible sporting project and they could not utilize what they had in that front three in the past 6 years. Whether it was with Messi and Suarez and Dembele, or Messi, Griezmann and Dembele, or Messi, Coutinho and Griezmann, nothing in the end actually worked. So it was a matter of can Barcelona utilize their players correctly, and especially in the front three like what they have been doing back in those dominant years. So what Barcelona must do moving forward, and the reason why I'm giving you guys this background is because we need to have a great sporting project and have the best players that can fit within the Barcelona system. That is what Barcelona and Xavi Hernandez is currently working on today. Like, even though players like Pedro and Villa were not the best players in the world, like the top 3 best players in the world, they still won a lot of things. And that's mainly because when you put those players together, they can win everything. And Barcelona today, and Xavi Hernandez knows this, he knows that he does not have to have the best players in the world in that front three to win everything. He knows that through the system that they have and their philosophy, they can win everything. It's not just about the players. And just like I have said, Barcelona is working on that today, and they want to bring that back, and they want to build a great sporting project and rebuild the future front three. And those 3 players that I do want to introduce, it is Lamine Yamal, Vitor Roque, and Prestianni from Argentina. This has been considered as Barcelona's vision, and I do believe that this will be the last front three for Xavi Hernandez before he departs away from this club for whatever reason. Whether that happens in 2030 or 2035, who knows, but this will be the front three that Xavi Hernandez will be working with in his last few years. Now keep in mind that we will see Yamal, Vitor Roque, and Prestianni, we will see them earlier at Barcelona, but not as official starters, nor let alone play with each other in that front three simultaneously. But these 3 players, they are the future, and things could change maybe in about 4 to 5 months. Maybe one of these players just are not as promising as they used to be, but as of now, this is the definitive front three that Mateo Lemán, Joan Laporta, and Xavi Hernandez and Jordi Cruyff have been working on. So let's talk about the latest updates regarding these 3 players, who they are, and how they would look like in a starting 11 in about 4 or 5 years from today. And even by that time, like in about 4 or 5 years, they're going to be between the ages of 19 to 21 years old. So this is a very young group of players. Starting with Lamine Yamal, it says here, according to Fernando Polo, they have stated that Barcelona have intensified talks with the agent of the jewel of La Masia, Lamine Yamal, who is out of contract this summer. The objective is for him to be renewed for at least 3 years with a large release clause. Now, if you guys do not know who Yamal is, he basically right now does play for Barcelona under 19. He is only 15 years old, and it makes sense that Barcelona want to renew this player for at the very least 3 years, because by the end of those 3 years, he'll be 18 years old. And hopefully, and that is what Mateo Lemán does want, and Joan Laporta, is to have Lamine Yamal go into the first team before he even hits 18. Very similar to what happened with Ansu Fati. He made his first team debut at the age of 16 years old. So they want to gather enough data to understand, okay, can Yamal actually make it into the first team? Yes or no? Is he as promising as as many do say. So his composure on the right flank, his through passes really does make what Yamal is today, and why we have been praising this player to be the gem of La Masia. When it comes to Yamal, going into the second division is just too easy for him, and that is a sign. It's a sign that this player is developing at a very fast pace because, again, he's just 15 years old. So there's a reason why he is called the brightest gem in La Masia. He has also trained with the first team already and multiple times, and Xavi is impressed by what he did see. So out of all of these three players that we are going to be discussing, Yamal is the most creative. So now let's move on towards the next player, which will be Vitor Roque, a player that we did not really talk about as much as we did compared to like Yamal and Prestianni. So let's talk about this Brazilian striker and center forward. It says here, according to Roger Torreo, that Vitor Roque prioritizes moving to FC Barcelona, and his agent is scheduled to go to the city very soon. Solutions are being found so he can fit within the salary cap for next season. So Vitor is a center forward, right? He's from Brazil and he's 17 years old. He has been making waves at the under-20 South American Championship and representing Brazil. He has scored 2 goals plus provided 1 assist against Peru. He has scored a goal against Argentina, scoring 2 goals against Ecuador, and has again been performing very well with his club team. And hopefully by next season, we get to see Lewandowski and Vitor Roque share that striker role. And this is what I do mean by, like, when I did say earlier in this video that we're going to be seeing these players much earlier with Barcelona. We don't have to necessarily wait 4 or 5 years. I'm just talking about like in about 4 or 5 years, we should expect to see these group of players starting in that front three, but we will see them earlier. So after seeing Barcelona lose Endrick, of course, Barcelona want to take advantage of the South American talent, and Vitor Roque is one of them. And I would even say he is the complete replacement of Endrick in terms of who Barcelona is looking for in that center forward position. So Roque is capable of operating on either flanks. He can play on the right wing or on the left wing. He has great technical power, and the fact that he has the ability to drift out into wide positions, which is why I do say that he is very capable to go on either flank. He can be very tactically flexible for Xavi Hernandez and for any coach in the world. And over there in Brazil, they call this player the Predator, right? Or another way of calling this player, they call him Tigrinho, which is another way of saying like tigre, but in English is tiger. But they will always want to add, the iño at the end of tigre or any other word. It has also been said that the fans love his mental capacity. Like, he's not afraid to go on to 1v1 duels defensively and offensively. So this is the most, I would say, aggressive out of the front three. And he can definitely deliver with FC Barcelona in about 2 or 3 years. And just like how I did say about Yamal being the most creative out of the front three, Roque is the best goal scorer out of the front three, which is now going to lead us towards Gianluca Prestianni, who is 17 years old and does play on the left wing. You see how everything's kind of like mapping out so perfectly? We have Roque, who plays as a center forward, Yamal, who plays as a right winger, and then we have now Prestianni, who plays as the left winger. So it's a complete front three. Prestianni does play in many different positions. He can play on the right side as a center forward, but he does favor being on the left. And now that I think about it, when we talk about Argentina, right, the national team, the first team, it has been a very long time since we have seen Argentina have a true left winger, like a David Villa type of left winger, or maybe like a Ansu Fati type of left winger, or maybe even someone like Neymar, someone who can receive the ball and cut inside and create with his right foot. Like, yes, we saw Argentina have Papu, Di Maria, Julian Alvarez, but Papu has never really exceeded those expectations. Di Maria was great as a left winger, but he was always left-footed, and he always preferred to play like on the right side for some reason. And then we have Julian Alvarez, who actually prefers to play as a center forward. But we have seen him play as a left winger, but we have never, again, Argentina has never really had that true definitive left winger. This guy here, Gianluca Prestianni, that is going to be the first time in a very long time that Argentina will be able to introduce an efficient and great left winger. Over there in Argentina, they say that, okay, whatever Endrick is to Brazil, that is what Prestianni is to Argentina. He is a very big talent. And to be 17 years old and to have a release clause of 12 million euros, he can definitely be registered and be registered maybe into the B team. Like I've said, we're probably going to be seeing Prestianni very soon, but not in the first team. We're probably going to be seeing him in the B team first, and then we'll see how he does develop from there. So the latest regarding this player, it has been said, according to Marca, that Real Madrid and Barcelona are the two clubs that are very interested in Prestianni. And the reason why they like this player so much, it is because his low center of gravity and his ability to like be very difficult to take down is what really attracts Barcelona and Real Madrid. The only thing that I would say in terms of his weaknesses is that he's really weak in tracking back. He's not good at defending and going back there and try to help to recoup the ball. But I do believe that if he does end up going to Barcelona B, he will be introduced into that type of game from the defensive side. And you can greatly tell that he has been taking some inspiration from Lionel Messi, which is why we see him take down so many players. So here's going to be my conclusion. This is a front three that Xavi Hernandez would love to have. And by that time, in about 3 or 4 years, we're probably going to still see Ansu Fati in the mix, but we have to lock down these three players if Barcelona want to have some sort of future promising attacking side. So in about 4 or 5 years, or maybe even 3 years, our front three could look like this: Yamal on the right side, Roque as a center forward, Gianluca as a left winger, Gavi, Pedri, Frankie in the midfield. I don't know if Zubimendi is going to be there. I have no idea who's going to be our other central defensive midfielder. I'm assuming that Xavi Hernandez is going to continue to use a 3-2-2-3 system by that time. So again, I have no idea who's going to be right next to Frankie. Frankie even said that he really does like this format midfield idea and he feels very comfortable, and I do assume that we're probably going to be still in this type of system, but as of now it's very unknown. And then our defensive line being Alejandro Balde, Koundé, Araujo, and then I have no idea who's going to be on the right back position. Again, this is too far from right now. So in terms of these two positions, which is the central defensive midfielder and the right back, again, I have no idea, but this is kind of like an idea of what Xavi's project will look like by that time. So that will be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.